Hi everyone, my name is Andy Robertshaw. Now I'm going to be going through Daily Cumulative Doku Greater Than Puzzle 31623. Today is Sunday the 21st of June 2026. Somebody has requested that I go through this one in response to a previous post, so here goes. So 14 cage there, 59 or 68, and the same for this 14 cage, 59 or 68. I've got an 11 cage here which is 1, 2, 3, 5. 5 cage here which is 1, 4 or 2, 3. I'll do the 13 cage, 4, 9, 5, 8, 6, 7. So I've got a bit of transitivity at the top with inequalities. Can we make anything out of those? Let's do this 8 cage first. So 1, 7, 2, 6, 3, 5. If I add together what I've got, so I've got 11 there and at least 12 there, that's 23, and at least 13 there for 36, at least 13 there for 49, and 30 there for 79. So I've got at least 79 between those. I've got maximum 11 between those two. Right. Okay. In fact, the 30 cage is 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 11 plus 30 for 41. So 4 more to make this up to 45. So 1, 3 there. 2, 4, 5 there. Right. But I can't have 2 or 5. I've got 2 and 5 in that other 11 cage. So that's a 4. That's 2, 5 there. So not 2, 5 there. Not 6 and 3 there. I've got a 4 in that column. So they're 2, 3. That's 5 and 2 and 1 and 3. So the maximum I could have here is 7. That one's 6 or 7 to go with the 4 because they were maximum 11. And I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that row. So maximum 11, but I've got minimum 10. So I don't have much room for any slack. So if I take my minimum of 10 there, I've got 11 and 10, that's 21, and that one is 51. So the most they could add up, the least they could add up to is 51. So the most these could be is 39, but 12 plus 12 plus 13 is 38. So I know this one is definitely 12. I could increase one of the two 13 cages by 1. So I could have a 12, a 13 and a 14 cage there, with a 6 there. Or I could have a 12 and 2 13s with a 7 there. But this one being 12 and not using a 1, that sounds potentially interesting. What can I have in the 17 cage? If I've got 6 on the top, I need 11 underneath it. Not 2, 9, not 3, 8, not 5, 6. It's going to be 4 and 7. 6 with 4 and 7. If I've got 7 there, I can't have 2 or 3, so I've either got 4, 6 or 1, 9. So the 17 cage must contain a 7 with 4, 6 or 1, 9. So no 7 in the 8 cage, no 1 there to go with it. Right. So I'll do the rest of this column. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. I've got 6, 7, 8, 9 to go with them. Look at this now. Minimum 13 there. So maximum 2 there. Can't have 2, must have 1. And must have 6 and 8 to go with it. So we can take the 6 and 8 out the rest of that column. So what options do I have here? I've got 7 and a total of 12, which could be 4, 8 or 9, 3. I've got 9 and a total of 10, not 9, 1. But I could have 8, 2, 3, 7 or 4, 6. Well, still quite a few options. Also a 10 cage here, 1, 9, 2, 8, 4, 7, 3, 6. Not 1 there, not 9 there. This one's at least 2 because that cage has to be at least 11. But no maximum. I've got 6, 8 there, so this 14 cage is 5 and 9. I've got a lot on the bottom row. I've got 15 and 10 and at least 11. So that's 36, and 14 is 50, and that's 70. So I've got minimum 70, maximum 20 between those 5. I've also got maximum 14 here. I could have a 1 there, couldn't I? Right. So that's at least 11. In fact, don't have 3 there. I don't have a 5 underneath it. Don't have 2 or 3 there. So this one's going to be 6, 7, 8 or 9. In fact, I can't have a 7 there because, whoops, I must have a 7 inside the 17 cage, as I discussed earlier. So this being 13 or 14, I could have 6, not with 7, 6 and 8. 8 I could have with 5 or 6, or 9 I could have with 4 or 5. So not that many options here. I couldn't have a 2 inside this cage because the most I could have is 1, 2, 9 for 12, but I know that one's at least 13. So I must have a 2 inside this 12 cage. What can I have with it? A total of 10, not 1, 9, not 2, 8. So I could have 3, 7, but the 7 would have to be outside the box because of this 17 cage. 7, 3 like that. Or I could have 4 and 6 either way round. 4 and 6 anyhow. Let's put them in. Right. In fact, I've got 1, 7, 9 or 4, 6, 7 there, and 1 or 6 there. So one of my 17 options contains a 1, the other contains a 6. So that's a hidden 1, 6 pair. So I can remove 1s and 6s from elsewhere in this box. So I can't have an 8 there because I need 17, and we know the most this cage can be is 14. So that's 4 or 5. Right, so 6, 7. Yeah, so I'm trying to work out is there anything else we got. So what can I have in this cage? This 13 or 14 cage. Could I have a 3 in there? If I got 3, it would have to be 1, 3, 9. The 2, 4 there. 2, 4, 5. And 6 there. That seems to work. But this one is less than or equal to 8, so nothing more than 7 in any of the cells. If I've got 5 and 9 there, I've got 7 there and 2 there, and 6 there, and 7, 1, 9 there, and 8 and 5 there. Yeah, I must have an 8 there. With 5, 9 there, I've got 7, 2, 6, must have 719 there, so must have 8 there, and since that's at least 13, must have 5 there. So can't have the 5 there or the 9 there. So with 9 there, I've got 8, 5 there. 6 and 8 there, what happens then? Do we have any consequences of that? Not seeing them. Alright. Alright, I feel there's something I can do here. So this one, at least 11. I think the question I should be asking, where could I put the 1? So could I have the 1 in this larger cage? So bear in mind this one is at least 12 and at most 14. So if I've got 1 there, so could I have 2 there or 2 there? 1. In fact, I must have. If I've got 1 in there, I can't have 2 or 3 in that one. So 1 there, I've got at least 12 there. Must have at least 13 here. So 4, 5, 1 there. So what can I have with it? Nothing. 3, 4, 5. I can't have a 2 in it because I can't get high enough with. 3, 4, 5 is 12. 1, 2 gives me maximum 12, but I need more than that. So 1, 6, 7. I can't have the 6 there. So 1, 7, 9. In fact, I can't work that out. So with 3, 4, 5, I can't do it. With a 1 there, I need to go for the option of having a 13 there and 14 there. So 1 would have to go with 5 and 9 to get this one to be 14. 1, 5, 9. And could I have 4, 6? Looks like I could. 1 with 5, 9 and 4, 6 seems to work. But if I've got 1 in there, I must have 7, 8 or 9 with it. Right, I can't rule anything out yet, so let's move on. So I know this 9 can't be 2, 7 because they're the only options for that one. So 1, 8, 3, 6 or 4, 5. This one at least 11, but not 5 or 9 in the bottom one. So I can only have 8 there, must have at least 3 in the top one now to keep it at least 11. Right, 2. Right, I must have an 8 in that row of that one, I think. Almost, maybe not, maybe that's not definite. Yes, I must. I can't have an 8 anywhere else in that row, so there must be an 8 there. So this one, which is 13 or 14, cannot contain an 8. So in fact my 8 must be on the top row of that one. Can't have an 8 there. In fact that means that my 8 on this row must be there. And this one is in fact 8 and 5. Because that needs to be at least 13. So that's not 5, that's 2 or 3. That's not 8, that's not 6. And that's not 5, that's not 4. Right, is that helpful? I do hope so. So I've only got 13 there. So I must either have a 7 there or a total of 14 in that one. So if I've got 9 there, I could have 3 or 4 with it, and that looks fair enough. I want 3 or 4. In fact, let's do something else before we say any more. 2 3s and 4s there. In fact, I can say a couple of things now on this. Firstly, this one, which I know is 12, I can't have 2 or 4 there because I'll be stuck on 9 here, so take 2 and 4 there. I've got a 2 3 4 triple there, so I can de-underline those, but 2 3 4 triple, so I can't have a 4 in the 17 cage, so it must be 1 7 9, and that must be 6, that must be 2. So let's do away with the 2s there and do away with the 6 there and the 9 there. I've got 4 7 8 there, and I've got 6 there. Right. So 1 and 5 there, but 2 and 3, sorry, 2 or 3 and 9. In fact, this has to add up to at least 13, so it's going to be 1 3 9, and this is 6 2 4, and that's 3, and they're 1 2 5. I've got a 7 in this row, so they're 6 and 9, they're 7 and 8. Right. Okay, I've got an 8 in that column, so no 8 there, no 1 there. I've got 2 there, so 4 and 2. I've got 6 in that column, so that can go from that one. So what do I know about these 4 now? I've got 17, 32, 46, 55, and another 20, 75. So those 4 add up to 15. Right. So maximum of 8 there. Right. Right. What have I got in this column? 1 5 7 8 9. Yeah. Right. Must be getting somewhere now. I'd like to do something between these. So with what range of value? I've got 11 and 12, got minimum 23, I've got maximum 27 there. So between 23 and 27, the maximum for the range for the other 3 then is 18 to 22. So I've got quite a few values there. So what can I have at the bottom here? Not 1 3 6 8 5 9. So it only leaves 2 4 7. Right, well, let's try some values in here and see what happens. 7 there will give me 8 there. So between 23 and 27 and 15 there, that's between 38, sorry, between 38 and 42. So I could still have the 6 there. Okay, with a 2 there, so I've got 25 to 29. I could still have 16 or 17 there. Yeah, so I can't rule anything out there yet. So just trying to see any. Can I do something with this 19 cage? Three, 7, 9, 9 there as well. So 5 and 8 there, and 6 and 8 there. And that'll be 4, 6 in the 10. Okay, 4 there, I need 15, so 7, 8. So 4, 8, 6, 7, 1, 9, 3. That seems fine. 6 there would be, has to be 9 and 4. So 6, 4, 5, 8. Right, okay. Yeah, I'm not getting anywhere anywhere fast. Excuse me. Right, there's got to be something. Something's got to give. Just say that. If I've got 3 and 1, if I've got a 1 in that one, I need 7, 8 or 9 to go with it. Right, so... And I must have the 2 in that one. 4, 5, 6 would be too much, so 2 there. No, I'm struggling to see anything useful. 10, 13 and 19, so that's, in fact that's 42, isn't it? That's 32 there and another 10 makes it 42. So those 3 are 3 more than that one. Those 3 add up to 10 or 12. In fact that's helpful. I can't have 9 or 3 there, because I'd have a total of 12 already. The only way I could have 9 there then is if I had 1 and 2 there, and 9 there. So that's possible. In fact, with 10 or 12, and I could have 8, 1, 3. Could I have 8 there? 8, 1, 3, 4, 6. 8. So I've got to have the minimum 4, 3. Sorry, 8, 1, 3, and 4, 6 there. So with 8, 4, and 6 gone, that's all the options to the 13 cage. So I don't have an 8 there. Could I have a 7 there? So again, 10 or 12, I've got to have a total of 5. I can't have 1 and 2 there. I must have 2, 3. 7, 2, 3. So that's 12, so I've got a 9 there. And I must have a total of 10 here and a total of 10 here. So 1946 58. Okay. Six there, 3, 6, 3, 1, and 7. It would have to be, and 4, 8 there. So 6, 3, 1, 4, 8. I've taken up all the options for the 10 cage, so I can't have 6, 3, 1 for my 10 there. Can't do that, can't have a 6 there. Right, well, I'm going to work through, see how far I can get with this. 5 there, 1 or 2 there. In fact, I'll have to have a 3 there. 5, 2, 3, 7, 4, 8. So 5, 4, 8, 2, 3. Uh, 5, 4, 8, 2, 3, 6, 7, 1, 9. Okay, that seems to work. So I've got 7 or 5 as my possibilities there. 4 in that one. So again, I can't have 9 yet. So 4, 3 is 7, 5. I'd have to have 4, 3, 5. 6, 7. So 4, 3, 5 is 12. Got 9 there. Got 6, 7 there. I don't have an option for that to add up to 10. So I can't have a 4 there. If I've got a 2 there, and I have narrowed this down quite a bit now, if I've got a 2 there, I could have 9, 1 or 3, 5. 2, 9, 1 is 12, so that's for 9 there. So I've got to have 4, 6 and 7, 3 and 5, 8. That's fine. 2, 5, 3 is 10 for 7 there. 2, 5, 3 4, 8 6, 7. That's fine. Okay, well, I've reduced that to 2, 5 and 7. The only chance I've got in having a 7 there is with a 5 there. So 7 will rule out the 7 there, and 2 means 2 with 7 is too small. So I'd have to have, if that's a 7, that's a 5. And that's a 9. But that's a 9. Yeah, so that's a 7, that's a 5. That's a 9. So because I've got 42 between those, I need this plus this plus this to be 12. With a 5 there, I can't. I have to have 3 there. 9's too much, and I'm on 8. I can't make that up to 12. So I can't have the 7 there that I need. That's a 9 then, and that's a 7. So not a 9 there, not a 7 there, not a 7 there. So we've got 4 and 8 inside this 19 cage now. So not 4, 9 or 5, 8. The 13 cage is 6, 7, so that's not a 7. This isn't 3, 7 or 4, 6. So I've got 6 and 7 in that box, so that's not a 6. Right. I think that might have been a good move. So 2, 8. Looks like the only. In fact, I've got 4 and 8 there, so that's not 2, 8. That's 1, 9. That's not 1. That's not 9. That's 3 and 9. So I've got a 2, 5 pair. I don't have a 9 in this one, so I can't have a 2 in that one because they need to be at least 11. That's a 5, and this one's a 9. So those 9s can all be eliminated. Right, so what am I left with? What have we still got? No 9 in the 20 cage, but 5, 6, 7, 8 is plenty enough. So I'm still looking around. I didn't get very far with this with this area earlier on. Have I taken anything out? So 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 between the, so 3, 4, 7 to go there. 2, 4, 5, 7, not 3 because I've got 3 there, and 3, 4, 5, 7 there. Right, so I've only got 4 options there. I know this cage is something between 12 and 14. So 2, 4, 6, not 2, 4, 7, could be 2, because I've got 7 there. 2, 4, 8, 2, 5, not another 5. Sorry, I should have had a 3 there, not an 8. So sorry, I should have had 6 and not 3. Yeah, 2, 5 is 7, not 5. I could have 2, 5, 6 to make 13, or 2, 7. Not 3. I could have 4 or 5 to go with 2, 7. 4, 5. All I can have. In fact, I can't have the 4, 5 pair because I can't have the 3, the 4, or the 5. I need to get it to 12, 13, 14. 4, 7. I could have a 1 to get up to 12. Can't have a 2 to get up to 13 or a 3 to get up to 14. And 5, 7 is 12, that'd be a 1 also, that's all I could put in. Right, so a few options there. Could I have the 9 inside this one? If I do, its maximum is 13, so it has to be 9, 1, 3. I'd have 6 there. I need 14 there, so 13, 14, 27 and 6, 33. 8 and 4 to make the 12 I need there. So 9, 1, 3, 6. Take out 8, 4. I could have 2, 5 and 7 there. Right, yeah, so that... Right, I don't know how helpful that is. I don't know how relevant it is. We'll get onto it later. So I've got a 5 in that column, so let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the 5 there. In fact, that's got to be a 2. So that's a 5, that's 1 and 2. So no 2 there. I've got a 1 in that row, so no 1 there. So I must have a 6 in one of those. Um, right. I've got a big cage there. Again, I don't know how interesting the fact that's a big cage is going to be, but I'll point it out. Let's have a look at this bottom two rows again. So 2014 is 34, and 10 and 15 another 25, that's 59, and at least another 11, that's at least 70. So I've got a maximum of 20 between those. In fact, just taking the maxima, this is quite interesting. So 34 there, 25 there, that's 59, and 11 is 70. So minimum 70, maximum 20 between those. But I must have 2, 3, 4, 5. So minimum 14 there, so maximum 6 there. So not 6. All that one could be then is 3 or 4. Right, so with that being 3 or 4, so maximum 17 between those 4. That rules out an 8 there, doesn't it? So yeah, maximum 20 between those 5. If I take the minimum one out, it's maximum 17 between those. But I must have 2. In fact, 2, 3, 4 is 9. I could have 2, 3, 4 and 8 there to get 17. That's just about possible. What if I've got a 7 here? So 7, 2, 3 is 12. Again, just about possible. I can have 3, 5 there to make that up to 20. Okay, but only having 3 or 4 there, that's interesting. So 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 are my candidates for this one, but not a 6 there. So still looking around, still seeing what I might just have. So 29 there, those 4 add up to 16. I can't have both an 8 and a 7 there because that's 15, that's too much. I also can't have both an 8 and a 5 there because I've got a 2 there. I could just about have 7, 5 and 1, 3. To make 16, or with the 1 I could have 1 and 8, which is 9, and 3, 4, 1, 7, which is 8, and 3, 5, or 1, 5, which is 6, and a total of 10, which could be 3, 7, or 4, 6. There's always one option that spirals things a bit out of control. So my 2 must be one of these in that box. Right. So I can't have a 1 with the 2 in the 20k because I need 8 and 9. I've got 9 there. I can't have the 1. Could I have 2? I could have 2, 3, 7, 8. I must have the 1 there. In fact, I don't have 1 as a candidate anywhere else, so that's a given. So 3. If I've got 3, 7, 8, I've got 5 there, 1 there, and 4, 6. Right. So this one, 11, 12, 13. So those two are 8, 9, 10. They're not 8, in fact. I can't have 1, 7, 2, 6, or 3, 5 because of those. So not 8 there. I now know this one is at least 12. And this one is 13 or 14. So if this is 12, I could have 1, 8 or 4, 5 with it. If it's 13, I could have 4, 6 or 1, 9. Right, if I've got 1 and 8 there, then I can't have 1 and 8. I can't have 1, 7 or 8 there. So 1, 8 for 12 there. This is at least 14 without 7s or 8s. So it's exactly 14 without using 1, 7 or 8. So I've got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. It'd have to be 2, 5 and 7. Right, that's fine then. 1, 9. In fact, 1, 8. It could have been 13. Okay, I'm getting complicated again. Let's move on. Let's do something else. In fact, I must have 7 in this non-20 area. So I've got 20 and 9, 29. In fact, I could have 7 in the 20 cage there. Right, so ignore that. 1, 5. I can't have 1, 8 here, then I've got 5, 7 there and nothing left for the 14 cage. So let's take one out. I've got 3, 6 or 4, 5. So 5s and 6s, I've got 1 in that 9 cage, 1 in that cage, so no 5 there. So I must have a 5 as one of those two. So does that help? 29 and 5. I can't have an 8 then, can I? 29 and 5 and 8 is 42. I need 1 and 2 there, but I've got the 2 in that row already, so no 8 there. So 5, 7, let's clear these out and do them again. 5, 7, 1, 3, or 1, 5, a total of 10, which could be 3, 7, or 4, 6. So, in fact, the 8 must be one of those now, so the 14 can't be 8 and 6. The 14 is 5, 9, and I've got 1 and 9 that way round. So not a 1 there. Um, 3, 4, and not 5 and 4 in the 9 cage. So that's 3 and 6. So that's 2 and 3. That's 7 and 6. So that's not 7. So what can I still have here? 1, 7, 8, 4. So I must have a 4 there. I don't have a 4 there. Right, so I've got to have a 6 in one of these two. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. But not 1 there. Not 3 there. Let's do this row. I've got 2, 3, 6, 7. So 1, 4, 5, 8, 9. not 1 there, not 9 there. I've got a 6 in that row now, so not 6 there. I've got a 5 in that row, so not a 5. In fact, I feel like I'm missing a number. 2, 4, 5, 7, 9. So I've got 1, 3, 4, 6, 8 left. Yeah, that's okay. So the 5 in this column must be one of those two. Yeah, it must be one of those two, so not a 5 there. What have I still... So not 5, 6, 7 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. Not 3 there either, because I've got a 3 there. I've got a 3 in that box, so no 3 there. Right. Yeah, so we all, I think we must be getting very close now. So this one greater than 10, but again, lots of options for what we could have there. The 9 is one of those two in this box. So what could I have here? Not 1, 2, 3. Could have 4, 5. Not 7. Could have 8 or 9 though. So can I reduce this one any further? 9, 1, 5. So I basically got 29 there. If I got 1 and 5 there, I could have... I'll start these again. I could have 4, 6 either way round, or 3, 7 that way round. If I've got 5, 7, so that's 41. I could have 1 and 3 that way round, not a 1 in that column. So 1, 3, so that actually means my 8's got to be on the top row of this one. So not an 8 there. So I can't have a 3 there. I can't even have 4, 6. I must have a 7 there, but it could go with either the 4 or the 6. No 7 there. That's a 4, 8 pair, so that one's a 7. Right, so 4, 6, 7. Right, there's got to be something. So whether I've got 8 here or here, it eliminates that one from being an 8. So same cage or same column. So my 8 in this column must be one of those two, which makes that one not an 8. 1, 5, 7 triple, so that one's got to be an 8 in that column. So 1, 4, 7 triple there, not 1, 4, not 1 there, not 4 there. So not 1 there. I must have the 1 inside this smaller cage now, so that could be really helpful. So 1, 3, 4 is not enough. 135 is not enough. 136 is not enough. So it's 138 or 139. I've got a 1589 quad there. So that's not 589, that's 4, and that one's 6. So no 4s there. 1348. So 147. I've got 2 5 or 8 there, but not 9. Not 8 either, because I've got an 8 there. In fact, I can rule that one out as being an 8. And that one as well. The only place I got for an 8 in this column is there. So that's an 8, that's a 4, that's an 8, that's a 1. They're 3 4. So 8 or 9 there. I've still got to play with these inequalities. So 1 5. 3 4 pair there. So this one's going to be an 8. So that's not an 8. Let's have a look then. So 8 1 3 is 12 there. So this one would be 13 or 14. So I could have, must have the 5 on the top. So I'd have to have 5 2 7, 8 for 5 2 7, and 9 there is 13. I'd need 14 there. 8 2 4 or 5 2 7 again. I can't get away without a 4 in that, can I? If I don't have a without a 2 in that, I should say. If I don't have a 2 in that cage, the least I'd have is 4 5 7 for 16, which is more than 15. I must have a 2 there, and not a 2 there. So my 2 in this column is that one. I've got 1 in that column. So I've got 3 4 6 7 left. So what have I got? 3 4 6 7. Can't have 5 there because I need 8 there, and that make 2 5 8 is 15. So that's 4 7. That's a 4 7 pair. So that's 3. That one's not 3 4 7. So that's 5. Not 5 there. So not 5 there now. So 7 5 or 4 8 there. I've got a 1 7 pair there, so this one's a 5. So I've got 34 there, must have 11 there, 7 1 3 or 6 1 4. So of 7s and 4s, one of them is there, one of them is there. So that's not a 4. So right, not particularly. 3 4 6. I've got 1 there and 1 in each of those. Right. Feels like we're all getting close. In fact, I've got an 8 in that row, so that's 9. That's 6 and 9. That one's an 8, and that one's a 5. So it's got to be 2 7 5 for the 14 there, and that one of 4. And that's 8 and 7. So I've done that one at last. Right, can we finish this now? I've got a feeling something's just going to go. I've got a 5 there, so that's 2 and 9 and 1 and 5. 3 4 pair, that's 2 and 1. I've got 7 in that row, so 1 7 4 1 7 there with 3. I've got a 1 in that one. So what I've got here, so that's 15, a total of 10. In fact, I've got 7 there, so must have 4 6 there. So that's a 6, that's a 4, that's a 3, and a 4, and 6 and 7, and 3, 4. I've got 6 in that column, so 3 and 6 that way round. 3, 6 to go, that's 7. I'm left with 3 and 8 to go there, but I've got 3 on the bottom there, so 3 and 8, and 6 and 8, and 7 and 6. Phew, right, that was a hard one. So thank you for watching. I hope you found that helpful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.